In the middle of the night on Thursday, it was announced that Netflix of all of the competitors, had decided to ring that mythical $30 per share bell and end the war right before Christmas. So yes, the streaming giant that has ostensibly ran Hollywood for the past 5-10 years has just purchased one of the big three studios, and oh boy, the reporting is going to be insufferable in the coming weeks. So yes, as this is a developing story, as this is breaking within, a time of recording, the past couple of hours, we don't have a lot of the specifics, but we have some, and I'll be going over those thanks to the wrap with like a really good breakdown of the events so far. So yes, Netflix wins the bidding war for the exclusive rights to negotiate the purchase of Warner Brothers Discovery. And as I've been talking about this, as all of the information began to unravel itself, I always thought that Netflix was the dark horse in this scenario. Like, why would they want traditional cable networks? Why would they want a lot of the other stuff that is going to be coming with Warner Brothers? But we'll see what happens. We will see what happens, because this is the first step on a very, very, very long path. But I still believe we will have the framework of this deal before the end of the year. So here we go. Netflix wins. Yes, the Warner Brothers Discovery bidding war enters exclusive deal talks. A streaming giant hit the magic $30 a share target and has an exclusive window to negotiate a final deal. So Warner Brothers Discovery is moving forward with the exclusive deal talks with Netflix. The Wrap has learned WBD has selected Netflix after the streaming giant offered $30 a share for the studio and streaming assets. Okay, so the linear cable network, they're going to get sold off to somebody else. Is that what Paramount and Comcast are going to be left to pick over? I don't know. Okay, so according to two people familiar with the deal also includes a $5 billion breakup fee to match the terms that Paramount added with its bid. Okay, so was Paramount having cold feet about the networks as well? Interesting. Well, it's unclear now what the makeup of the new bid looks like. Oh, we'll be getting the particulars here in very short order. Don't worry about it. The prior bid was a mix of mostly cash and stock. That's one that we talked about earlier this week, I think, at some point in time, where they came in and they were very cash flush, rather. But on Thursday morning, there was a third round of bids that were requested, and this was the one. This is Netflix's third bid, was the one that ended up getting selected. So Netflix securing the win over rival suitors Paramount and Comcast represents a stunning turnaround from just 2 months ago, where, yeah, because remember where all of this started, where co-CEO Greg Peters shaded buying, big media mergers as not having an amazing track record. And over here at Netflix, we're all about building instead of acquiring, and lo and behold, never trust a suit. And Paramount buying WBD seemed like a foregone conclusion. Yeah, because they just seem like the most natural fit. They're out there buying everything up ever since David Ellison took over. They just seem like the most natural fit, and well, they're still going to be kicking around. It's just more like agitators, and they're, at least right now in the early days, kind of seeming like sore losers, but we'll come around to them. Okay, so these exclusive talks clear the road for Netflix to acquire, yes, Warner Brothers Studios, HBO Max, and a treasure trove of IP assets like Harry Potter and the DC universe. Oh boy. Okay, I got some videos cooked up for the weekend, and I didn't anticipate this decision coming down, but there's only one video that is coming out, I think Sunday. I'm pretty sure it's coming out on Sunday, that I make some passing references to this deal. And yeah, now that it's come through like this, it really doesn't bode well for a certain individual that had been heavily rumored. If a certain studio ended up buying Warner Brothers, they might be brought back at the 11th hour to finish their story. It's looking even more bleak now, isn't it? But Netflix, which once aspired to be like HBO and first embarking on original content, is on a course to become its next owner. Obtaining such assets could dramatically reshape the entertainment landscape and give Netflix even more power over Hollywood. Concerns the streamers, yes, will have to assuage, and that's, of course, going to be the problem because of, yes, the regulatory hurdles. You've got the biggest streamer buying the second biggest streamer. That's kind of an issue. That's why, Paramount and Universal, Comcast, NBC Universal could just swoop in right there, because Peacock, the fuck is that as a streaming platform? And Paramount Plus, given the fact that they're about to lose Taylor Sheridan in the very near future, they don't really have much going on. So yeah, buying in HBO made a lot of sense. And oy vey, like, God, the memes about, IPs getting the Netflix treatment. I'm just thinking, some of my favorite IPs that Warner Brothers owns. God, that you guys remember from a few years back when Magic the Gathering was doing Lord of the Rings cards and we had Black Aragorn? Oh yeah, just wait until they redo the Lord of the Rings. You think it was a meme for cards. Anyways, the willingness to include the unusually large breakup fee was critical, with the question arising on how Netflix was going to deal with Warner Brothers through regulatory approval. Could face stiff antitrust scrutiny and opposition from the U.S. Department of Justice. New York Park's Charles Gasparino reported on Tuesday. I forget which video I have some of his scoops a part of. I think it might have been the Avatar James Cameron one, because, oh yeah, he's going to be big fucking pissy, especially when the red carpet stuff for Avatar 3 goes around, because, yeah, he was very much against Netflix buying Warner Brothers, and, oh, here it is. It has happened. But anyways, a representative for the Department of Justice declined to comment on the report. Yeah, because they have, like, nothing else to report on. This is all just, okay, cool, they won in the middle of the night. Great, cool. That's why details are going to be coming in quite quickly. Next week, this is going to be a huge story. In the November 13th letter to the United States Attorney General Pam Bondi, Federal Trade Commission Chairman Andrew Ferguson, and Department of Justice Antitrust Division Assistant Attorney General Gail Slater, Republican Representative Darrell Issa, warned that Netflix's bid would raise antitrust concerns that could harm consumers and Hollywood alike. Oh no, heaven forbid Hollywood gets harmed. They bet so hard on streaming in 2020, and who's left? Oh yeah, Netflix. Oopsie daisy. He noted that consolidation between the two companies would diminish incentives to produce new content and major theatrical releases, which could undermine opportunities for a full range of industry professionals, both in front of and behind the camera. Well, that was always going to be the case if any of these studios bought up Warner Brothers. You're consolidating, you're shrinking the market, you're shrinking the job opportunities. California Attorney General Robert Bonta has previously voiced his opposition to any deals involving Warner Brothers Discovery, further consolidation in markets that are central to American economic life, whether in the financial, airline, grocery, or broadcasting and entertainment markets, does not serve the American economy, consumers, or competition well, the office told The Wrap last month in response to Paramount's initial offer. We are committed to protecting consumers and California's economy from consolidation we find unlawful. The process of completing the deal will also distract the company from executing its core business. Netflix shares fell 5% on Wednesday when investors realized the prospect of a deal happening was very real. Yeah, because now they're going to be bloat. Oh God, there's going to be so much bloat going on. They're going to have to figure out, okay, how much stuff are we going to have to take on? Who are we going to have to axe? What are we going to have to axe? Like I said, this is going to be a multi-year process. And well, if the FTC doesn't want to play ball, it's going to take a minute. So there's also the X factor of Netflix jumping into the deep end of the theatrical business, a part of the entertainment world that is kept at a distance. While Netflix has said it would honor Warner Brothers' theatrical obligations, that isn't enough to alleviate some in Hollywood. An anonymous collective of industry players on Thursday sent a letter to members of Congress warning of the damage such a deal would have, according to Variety. Yeah, and this is where the bitching and whining starts to happen, because yeah, it wouldn't have happened with Comcast. This wouldn't have happened with Paramount, but because Netflix won and their proprietary business is in fact streaming, now you're going to get all of the unions complaining. This is going to get so fucking messy. But yes, not quite as messy as Paramount would like it to get, because oh boy, are they fucking butthurt. The third round of bids came a day after Paramount had issued a letter to Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav claiming the bid process had been tainted by management conflict. Okay, WBD appears to have abandoned the semblance of and reality of a fair transaction process, thereby abdicating its duties to stockholders and embarking on a myopic process with a predetermined outcome that favors a single bidder, Paramount said in its letter, which CNBC published. This followed an earlier letter this week from Paramount arguing that a deal would not get regulatory clearance. The second letter in particular signaled that Paramount CEO David Ellison likely sensed the tide shifting in another direction. Yeah, because I think it was Gasparino who also said that, yeah, the board is really starting to warm up to Netflix. And oh shit, I guess that tends to be the case. But the company had attempted to circumvent rival bidders by coming in early with an initial offer of $19 per share back in September. Warner Brothers Discovery, rejected 3 bids before starting its own strategic review. Paramount was intent on buying all of WBD and could take its own offer to WBD shareholders, although the amount is a third third round bid is unclear. Yeah, and I'd imagine we're going to be getting those details. Those are probably going to start to leak, maybe even later today, but definitely over the weekend, I would imagine. Even if it doesn't match Netflix's offer, I'd imagine they're probably all within that 28, 29, 30, maybe even some are over $30 a share. And maybe that could be the ethical argument that Ellison's alluding to. Who knows? Not doing right by the shareholders. But yes, Ellison could lean on the selling point that it could close a deal faster than expected, a longer grind, yes, with the streaming giant would undergo. Representative for Paramount declined to comment. Yeah, they're probably marshaling their forces right now because they aren't gonna go down without a fight. Paramount has already been through a process with the Trump administration before closing the merger with Skydance this summer. In September, it hired Mackin Delarim, the former assistant attorney general to the Justice Department's antitrust division during Trump's first term, and as its chief legal officer. At the threshold of just 20% of WBD shareholders who have held stock in the last year are needed in order to call a special meeting to vote on fending off a hostile takeover bid, according to a company filing. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of stuff because David Ellison, this is his first big L. Okay, he has been successful with just about everything else that he's done so far since merging Skydance and Paramount. And while Comcast will probably just take it on the chin, Ellison's going to be a thorn in their side, and also regulatory approval. And if the shareholders get involved, oh boy, this is going to be messy and it's going to be drawn out, and I'm going to be here for every step along the way. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.